Hello, I'm Steve Suggs, author of the book, Can They Sell? This video gives you 20 minutes of free training just like you'll find in the book. To buy the book now, click on the buy button on the right and watch this video later. After you buy the book, come back to this page and enter your information and your purchase code, and in addition to this training video, I'll give you another 30 minutes of free recruiting training as a bonus for having bought the book. It is recruiting training that will radically change the way you recruit salespeople. It's training that my clients are paying thousands of dollars for. It further answers the question, what are the traits of the best salespeople? Congratulations on wanting to learn to recruit the best salespeople. Get ready to learn how to select the best from the rest. Everybody who's recruiting wants to know these three things. Where do I find the best salespeople to interview? What are the traits and skills of the best salespeople? And what tools and questionnaires do I use to look for these traits and skills?
The information I'm about to give you is a sample of what's in the book, which has been endorsed by over 20 great sales trainers like Jeffrey Gitomer, Brian Tracy, J. Conrad Levinson, Tony Alessandra, Jill Conrath, Jim Cathcart, and many more.
This is a sample of the training that helped one of my clients increase sales by 70% in 1 year, just by using this system to recruit better salespeople. You can view many testimonials below from managers in a wide range of industries, or go to LinkedIn profile and see over 30 endorsements of this training. Today I'm going to begin to answer the question, what do I look for in the best salespeople? I'll show you why people make the mistake of hiring someone they like and then finding out later that they can't sell. Before I answer that question, I want to talk about Henry Ford. Henry Ford didn't invent the car. He invented a system of production that made the car affordable to the common working person. His contribution to mankind was efficient productivity. He created a system with knowledge, tools, and skills, and that's what this book is all about. It's a recruiting system that gives you knowledge of human behavior, recruiting tools, and recruiting skills. Master this system and you'll begin to recruit superstars and become a great coach. Here's the system. After we find enough people to interview, we move them into stage 1, screening. We screen their resume, then by phone, by email, in person, and then we check references. We use structured interview questions in this stage to help us measure for the top traits and skills. Then in stage 2, we use the science of a personality questionnaire. I use the Kraft Personality Questionnaire, the CPQ, to give me an accurate read on their hardwired personality traits. In stage 3, we conduct a final in-depth interview to help us get a final measure on the candidate's strengths and weaknesses. All along the way, we use the matching score sheet to score all of their traits and skills. Each stage gives us 20% of the information that we need to make a great hire. As you can see, this system is a balanced approach. We're not just using interview questions or just a personality assessment. It's all of these tools working in concert with each other that helps us measure each candidate's strengths and weaknesses. After we hire someone, we know exactly what to coach. Having a system like this is useless unless we know exactly what the top traits and skills of the best performing salespeople are. This brings up the question, what do we look for in the best candidates? Over the past 11 years of working with sales managers to recruit salespeople, my business partner Lance Cooper and I have discovered the 5 dimensions of the best salesperson profile. When you create a profile on Facebook or LinkedIn, you put information about yourself on your profile for the world to see. You put your best foot forward. You work to impress, and that's what candidates do when they interview to come to work for us. Our job is to see through the spin and get to the real person. If we don't know what to look for, then we don't really know the difference between the all talk, no action salesperson and the great salesperson. We are emotional beings. When we're faced with a decision, if we don't have the knowledge to make a decision, our default way of making that decision is to use our emotions. When we don't have a recruiting system based on knowledge, tools, and skills, we use our gut to make hiring decisions. We hire people we like. We measure for all 5 dimensions in order. If a person doesn't pass the test on the first one, we stop the selection process and move on to the next person. We look for attitudes first, then motivations, then character, then personality traits, and then sales skills. I'm going to briefly cover these 5 dimensions in the rest of this video. For now, let's first talk about attitudes. Top salespeople have 2 attitudes. First, they have a passion for solving the problems of your customers using the product that they're selling. Secondly, they have a positive image of themselves as a salesperson. If you sell insurance and financial services, you must recruit people who have a passion for helping people make the hard decision to purchase a product that protects people from an unexpected financial disaster and to make financial plans for the future. If you sell wireless phones and devices, you recruit people who have a passion for helping customers buy communication, convenience, and entertainment. If you sell products to businesses, you must recruit people who have a passion for helping your customers use your product to increase your customers' profits and gain more free time. Without a passion for solving these problems, it's impossible for your salespeople to reach high levels of success in their field. Secondly, we must have a positive image of ourselves as a salesperson. Selling is the hardest job in the world. We have to get up every day and battle in a marketplace full of tough competition and in an atmosphere of high rejection and high activity. If we don't respect and admire the professional services that salespeople bring to us, we'll not respect ourselves as a person of value to our clients. If the candidate you're interviewing buys most everything on the internet in order to avoid interaction with salespeople, there's no way they can have a positive attitude about themselves as a salesperson. So the best salespeople have the 2 attitudes of a passion for the product they sell and a positive image of themselves as a salesperson. The second dimension in the best salesperson profile is motivation. The best salespeople have immediate needs and a desire to make the future better. They have things in their life they want to change, and by working hard for you and earning the money from sales, they can bring about these changes. Changes like paying current bills, paying off debts, buying a house, saving for retirement, education for their children, and many other things that require money. The job of sales is just too hard to do it at a high level unless people have monetary needs. And these are monetary needs that can be only satisfied by doing well in sales. The third dimension is character. The top character traits are concern for others, honesty, work ethic, and responsibility. Character is built in our past. When parents and mentors teach us from a young age correct ways to behave, we become bonded to these character traits. We all have varying degrees of these traits. It all depends on how much training we received beginning at a young age. It all depends on how willing we are to work on our own personal development as adults. We measure character traits with interview questions which are specifically developed to measure the level of each character trait during the interview. The fourth dimension of the best salesperson profile is personality. In the Recruit the Best system, we use the Kraft Personality Questionnaire, or the CPQ, to measure 8 traits. The 4 that have the greatest impact on mastering sales skills are social drive, social confidence, goal orientation, and need for control. These 4 traits measure a person's natural desire to be social, to accumulate lots of casual relationships for the purpose of doing business, how confident we are when asking for appointments, asking tough fact-finding questions, asking people to buy, handling objections, handling rejection, being disciplined to set and reach goals with a creative and restless pace of work, and the desire to control conversations and situations that lead to getting the sales process completed. Doesn't that sound like the person you want to hire? These 4 traits measure that entrepreneurial, fire-in-the-belly personality of top salespeople. We are born with these traits, and science proves that most people who perform at high level of sales have a certain hardwired combination of these traits. The fifth dimension of the best salesperson profile is sales skills. The best salespeople are great at prospecting, setting and holding appointments, turning an appointment into a fact-finding interview, making effective presentations, and handling objections in a way that closes the sale. All of this sales activity must be done in a high-activity, high-rejection environment. Managers often say the salesperson you've described in this profile is hard to find and doesn't exist in my market. And they make a good point. What I've described is the perfect salesperson. But we must know what perfection looks like so that we can measure everyone that we're interviewing against perfection. It's sort of like the time that I tried out for the track team in high school. The first year we had a track team, our coach was a football coach who recruited a bunch of us football players to come over and play on the track team. It came time to choose the long jumper, and he pulled a few of us skinny guys over to the sand pit, and the first guy jumped 15 feet, the second jumped 16, and then I jumped a surprising 19 feet, and we all thought that I was a sure thing to win the next meet. Well, when we got to the track meet, I was up first, and I jumped my personal best of 20 feet. I waited for the applause, but no one was impressed but me. Now my competition jumps, he flies through the air with this spectacular form of swinging his arms and legs that I'd never seen before and landed an amazing 22 feet. He gets a huge applause and wins the event. Well, I thought this guy was incredible until the next day when I went to the library and discovered that the world record at the time for the long jump was around 26 feet. You see, until I did my research, I didn't have a point of reference as to how good or bad I really was. And it's the same thing with recruiting. Unless we know what perfection is, we'll compare each candidate against the best candidate in our small pool of current candidates. We'll think that 19 feet is impressive when 26 feet is actually perfection. If we have a pool of all mediocre candidates, we pick the best of the worst salespeople and don't realize that we have made a bad choice until our new salesperson is out in the field getting slaughtered by the competition. What I'm about to tell you next changed my world as a sales manager. This simple piece of knowledge of human behavior will help move you to the next level of selecting salespeople and coaching those on your current team. Are you ready? Here goes. The degree to which a person has the first 4 dimensions in the best salesperson profile will determine the level at which they will master the sales skills. If you want to become a great recruiter and a great coach, it's critical that you learn how to measure the level at which each person you're recruiting and coaching has of the right attitudes, motivations, character traits, and personality traits. And as you can see from this picture, the fewer amounts of the first 4 dimensions, the lower the capacity to master sales skills. The higher the amount of these 4 dimensions, the greater the capacity to master sales skills. That is what the book, Can They Sell, is all about. It's a recruiting system that gives you the knowledge and tools you need to measure these 5 dimensions in the people you're considering to hire. A manager in one of my training classes told me that he's convinced that the quality of the salespeople he recruits will determine the kind of coach he becomes. He's right. There's one thing that sets great coaches apart from the good coaches. If you look at all the great coaches throughout history, they all have a system that they use to recruit great players and a system to coach them by. Let's review what we learned in this video. To answer the question, what do I look for in the best salespeople, we use a system with 3 stages: screening, profiling, and interviewing. We use the 5 dimensions of the best salesperson profile. We look for these dimensions in order. First, attitudes. We want to hire candidates who have a passion for solving the problems of your customers using your product. We want these salespeople to have a positive image of themselves as a salesperson. Second, we want to hire candidates who have immediate and long-term financial needs that can be met if they are successful selling your product. Thirdly, We want candidates with the character traits of concern for others, honesty, strong work ethic, and responsibility. We want candidates with high scores in the personality traits of social drive, social confidence, goal orientation, and need for control. All four of these dimensions will determine the level at which a candidate will master the fifth dimension, the sales skills, which include prospecting, holding appointments, fact-finding, presenting, handling objections, and closing sales. We use tools, interview questionnaires, and personality assessments to measure these traits. With this system, we make a logical decision rather than hiring someone because we like them and we don't really know why we like them. As you begin to learn more of this human behavior knowledge, your recruiting and coaching skills will grow. What you've heard here is obviously just a small sample of the training in the book. If you like what you've heard, if you haven't already, what I'd like for you to do is click on the Buy button on the right side of the screen and buy the book.
After you buy the book, enter your name and Amazon order number from your receipt in the box on the right, and I'll send you a bonus. This bonus is 3 more valuable recruiting videos just like this one. While you're waiting on your book, you'll get a head start on improving your recruiting skills. It's recruiting training that will radically change the way you recruit salespeople. In the first video, I'll give you more information about the relationship between character traits and personality traits. You'll learn how our personality determines which character traits we are most likely to struggle with. This information will help you determine the true strengths and weaknesses of the salespeople you hire. You'll learn why the best salespeople are usually a bit more of a challenge to coach and why many candidates interview well but can't close sales. You'll learn how character is developed so that you can accurately score candidates on all 4 character traits. In the second video, I'll answer the question, where do I find enough quality candidates to interview? I'll show you more than 30 places to find quality candidates. You'll learn how to build a network of trusted people who will send you top candidates on a regular basis. In the third video, I'll answer the question, how do I look for the traits and skills of candidates? You'll learn secrets of great interviewers that get great salespeople to shine during the interview and cause weaker candidates to struggle. You'll see exactly how you can quickly put these interviewing skills to practice. I'm excited to bring this training to you. You're going to become great at recruiting and coaching. Sales will grow. You'll become more productive with less time and stress. To get this free bonus training, simply enter your name and email address and order number. Also, please share this video with others who will benefit from the training. Simply click on any of the social networking buttons below or email it to a friend. They will thank you for it. Also, please leave some comments below because I personally respond to every comment. Congratulations for wanting to become great. I look forward to seeing you on your next training video. Now go recruit the best.